Okay, domain and range. How is it? What do you do? Way back in the day, I thought domain and range was super confusing. And then now, like when I became a teacher and stuff, I was like, what? Super easy. So what is domain and range? We got X, we got Y. Which one's which? Domain, which one's domain, X or Y? Okay. And that's part of the confusion there is which one's which, and that's going to be a rough spot. Domain is X and range is Y. Okay. Y is range and okay. So how I think of it, just because I can tell you this, but then you will probably forget it like you just did, because I know you've heard this before. I think of domain as far as X goes like a dome, right? Like from left to right, there's a dome. It encompasses, fits within the dome. You don't think of a dome up and down because the dome is flat on the, you get what I'm saying? Okay, so dome, I don't know. And then range, maybe not the best analogy, but it works for me. And if it makes a light bulb click, then cool. It's like a shooting range. You know, if you go practice at a shooting range, with the targets off in the distance, it would not be a good idea to do left and right at a shooting range. See what I'm saying? And you got forward, backwards, right? Okay, so up and down. Anyway, there you go. However it makes sense to lock that in, that's the two different modes. Because it's the same thing. Domain is left to right. Range is up and down. That's literally the two different modes. It's the same thing. You're asking yourself the same question. What you're asking yourself is, what's the lowest to the highest value? Lowest value to the highest value. So for domain, that's left and right. The lowest value is going to be the farthest left, lowest to the highest value. But for range, the lowest value is the lowest value. It's kind of obvious, but highest value. Usually why this is a problem is people say left to right and up to down. But right, don't say up to down. It's down to up, lowest, highest. Okay, so for this, there's two parts to this. What are the numbers? And then we'll talk about the whole brackets and parentheses thing at last. What is the farthest left value for this thing right here? The farthest left, the lowest number of the blue line, what's the farthest left value? -2. Negative, I'm going to keep writing in blue here so we can color code this thing. I got -2, comma. What is the farthest right value?
5.
I totally understand that you said 5.
Infinite.
Ooh. What's right above 5? An arrow, right? So I know the arrow is there, but what does an arrow mean in math?
It's continuing.
Continuing keeps on going for how long?
Forever.
Forever. Infinity. So what do I write here?
The infinity sign.
The infinity sign, which I get so much entertainment watching you guys draw infinity signs, because man, do y'all suck at it.
Yours isn't pretty either.
That's a pretty one. What are you talking about? So many are like, oh, 2 circles. Or you like turn your paper sideways and then you write an 8, right? You're doing all this weird stuff. So anyway, infinity is the farthest right value, okay? Don't get trapped with the 5. Don't get baited with the 5, okay? And that's literally the first part. That's it, okay? We're about to build on a second, but that's it. Super simple. Over here now, for this blue line, what is the lowest value? 1. Comma. What is the highest value? Infinity. I'll get the idea. Okay, cool. Now, most of the time when you're talking about algebra 2 and even, just graphs in general, you got 2 dimensions here, okay? Lines are just 1 dimension. You got left and right. Okay, and then here we got 1 dimension, up and down. This, 2-dimensional, whoa. Then next week we're doing 3-dimensional. I'm just kidding. That'd be really cool. Like a hologram of a graph that's like floating in space. Anyway, that'd be super advanced. No, 2-dimensionally, we are going to look at this, but think in terms of domain and then think in terms of range. Okay, so make sure you can look at the specific things you're trying to look for. Okay, so for this, for domain, I am thinking in what direction?
Sideways.
Left and right. Okay, I'm doing this. Do I care anything about how high it goes?
No.
This is very hard to do. You know the little itch your belly, pet your head thing? Anyway, what is the farthest left value for this blue line? -2, right there. Yes. So for domain, in fact, I'll just tag it onto this whole thing. Domain, I would put -2, comma, what is the farthest right value? Infinity. Obviously not. Okay, cool. Range. What is the lowest value?
2.
2? -2?
No, it's just 2.
I heard a -2? I heard a 2?
Yeah, because it's right there.
Okay, I like how her answer was, yeah, because it's right there. Great lawyer right there.
walking.
I like this because I'm trying to bait you guys, okay? This is the y-intercept, but domain and range do not care about the y-intercept at all. All they care about is farthest to farthest or farthest to farthest. That's it, okay? Where they cross the y-axis, don't care.
So it'd be over there.
So right here where my finger's at, is there any point of the blue marker line that is lower than where my finger's at?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at all this. All of this is lower and all this is above. So this means nothing to me right now as far as the lowest and highest. So where is the lowest value? If I was scanning right here. Right there at 1, right? So the lowest value is 1, right? Now, what's the highest value? Here in infinity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
continuing upwards.
A popular wrong answer that I've gotten today is 2. Kind of like we just said about the lowest, right? Okay. Oh, that's the highest. Oh, but this is not the highest because it does keep going, right? There, like, does it cross this point? Yeah, right there, over here, right? As far as, again, up and down. And then the next most popular wrong answer is 5 because, oh, it's at 5. But what is at 5? An arrow for the infinity. Sorry. So it does keep going and going and going and going and going and going off the graph, right? Okay. So that would be infinity.
Wow.
And beyond. Toy Story. All right. So the most important thing I do want to say here also, I purposely chose a line. If I did this, yes, the line is going that way for forever. But as soon as it's going anything upwards, right, it is going to go infinity upwards as well. This is a multi-directional arrow, left and up, okay? Because will it ever cross? Oh, I guess I just drew it on the line. Will it ever touch the ceiling?
Yeah.
Will this line ever touch the ceiling?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Okay, I get the board doesn't exist on the, you know what I'm saying? But think outside the board. Outside the box? I don't know. This board, this eventually will go and hit the ceiling. It'll eventually go through the ceiling. It'll eventually go into outer space. See what I'm saying? I get that it's not doing this. Like, it would be a lot more obvious if the arrow's going this way. But even if I do just the littlest bit of this, eventually it's going to go up for forever, right? Over time, right? So anyway, there's that. Now, the next curveball here before I do the last part is what if, oh, also I want you to notice, do you see these lines, this x-axis one and this y-axis one?
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice something with them? It's the same.
Oh,
This is the one-dimensional version of this for the x-axis.
Oh.
This is the one-dimensional version for the y-axis. See what I did there? Ho, ho, ho.
Evil.
This goes from 1 to forever. 1 forever. This goes from 2 forever. 2 forever. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want you to think of this like this. See what I'm saying? That's the hugest part of hugest. Is that a word? I don't think so.
You just know.
That is the most hugest part of domain and range, okay? All right, now, I am going to do this. I'm going to add in a thing right here. I'm going to put in a closed circle right there, and I'm going to do this.
Go down.
Okay,
Good.
domain and range. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Domain. What is the farthest right value? What is the farthest right value off this way? And this is purposely a trick question. Pause it if you don't want to get the answer right yourself. Okay, so what is the farthest right value? I purposely wanted to throw you guys into a
You
weird
said
one.
right.
Oh God, I switched. I switched myself. So what is the farthest left value? What is the farthest value that's going this way here?
-1.
2, because this is at 2.
Mm-hmm.
See, I see that, but what is at 2?
Oh, it's an arrow.
An arrow,
I'm a little
right?
bit
It is going to keep. So it is going to keep going, right? I had somebody last class go, but the arrow stops right here. I'm like, okay, well, I can't draw infinitely. Like I can't do. It's just off the paper. There's just lines off the paper every time. That's how you figure it out. No. Imagination, right? So the farthest left value is infinity, but what kind of infinity is this?
Negative infinity.
Ooh, very nice. So we have negative infinity.
Wow.
Okay. Ooh, negative infinity.
That's scary.
So it is weird, but I'll talk about more here in a second. What's the farthest right value?
-1.
-1, right? That's a little bit more obvious. -1, okay? Because it stops right there. Okay. Now for range, this one's a little easier for range. You'll see why here in a second. What is the lowest value?
Negative infinity.
It's a little more obvious this time because you see the arrows going mainly down. It is negative infinity. What's the highest value?
-1.
Right there, -1.
Wow.
Yes. Also, do you see how they're the same,
Yeah.
but from the perspective of the domain or the perspective of the range, right? So that's the difference there. Now, I want to draw this here, okay, to see if y'all can get the two-dimensional picture. So the farthest, where's this dot going?
Down.
That's going on the -1 right here. In fact, I'll draw it above here. So the -1, and then it's going to go to infinity. Cool.
Sweet.
That's how I would draw that, okay, as far as thinking about it in my head, because it goes from there forever, okay? Now, does this line right here look like it's going to the left very quickly?
No.
No, but I don't care about how long it takes. It's eventually going to go all the way, and that's going to go this very fast, but eventually it'll cross me eventually, like way, you know what I'm saying? All right, cool. And then here, I said from -1, and obviously this one's a little more obvious, but that's the whole situation right there. Same thing. Now, the last part here, I'm going to come back through with the purple. Okay. The last part here is you are all halfway done with all of these right now. Okay. There's only one more thing you have to add onto it to say the difference of. What do you notice the difference between whether it's on your paper or on this thing? What's one thing we haven't addressed? That there's a weird thing. Yeah. Closed and open circles. So this is called end action, like what's happening at the end of this thing. So yes, we have from here to here, and on your paper, you're gonna see open circles, closed circles. We need some way symbolically to like say that, right? So if somebody were to give them the instructions to make this, they could redraw the thing, right? Ideally, if I gave you a number line, you could write this down and then erase the number line, and I could come back in and redraw it. You know, it's like a language translation, right? So what, for this blue line right here, okay, I'll erase the red one for right now. For this blue line, the farthest left value is -2, the farthest right value is infinity. Here's a little thing, you might want to write this down on whatever type of notes part you have or on the top of your paper. We have open circles and we have closed circles, okay? Open circles and closed circles. Either one of these things, you're going to have, can you see this? Okay. You have parentheses and you have brackets, okay? Parentheses and brackets. One of them goes with one of them and the other one goes with the other one. Don't write that down yet. I haven't paired them up with you just yet, okay? Which ones would make the most sense? Now I know, yes, I could already tell you, like, oh, this one's with that one, this one's with that one, but that's lame and dumb and you will forget it, okay? What makes the most sense? So which ones go with which one? Which is it? Which one would you pair up together?
I would just let it go across.
Why?
Because like I think the brackets are more like closed in, while the
Ooh, interesting.
the other ones.
Or like boxed in. They're like
Yeah.
boxed in. Yeah. You're like, huh, you're thinking it's boxed in. Okay, interesting. Or here's this. This is the mind blowing part. Watch this. It's an open circle and it's a two parentheses. Okay, that's how I remember it, and the other one is just not that one. Okay, all right. So there's the super nice trick there. So yes. Your open circle is your parenthesis, and the bracket is your closed circle. Okay?
Yeah.
So there's that. So this is literally translation mode again, right? Translation. Now, you have an arrow here, okay? So for arrows, again, I want you to think, okay? Because people, like human beings, chose these, right? Like human beings sat down and they're like, all right, we need to come up with some symbols for this, right? And they chose this because that makes sense. And this, okay? For an arrow gets one of these two things. Which one would make more sense for the arrow to be?
The open.
Open one? Okay. Oh, one thing I also need to say here is open circle means it does not include that point. A closed circle means it includes that point. So hold up one second. So right here, okay, and here's my question. Ooh, you know what we're gonna do? We'll do this one. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my question. Is 3 on this number line?
Yeah.
Yes. 3, yes, it's right there. Okay, cool. is 2 on this number line?
Yes.
Yes, it's right there. Now here comes the sketchy part. Watch this. Okay. Is 1.5 on this line?
Yes.
Yes. Here we go. Is 1.1 on this line?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Is 1 on this line?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. In fact, I would describe this as 1 is exactly not on this line.
Because the point's exactly on it.
Right? What this is telling you, what this is, it's like a road construction worker be like, hey, careful, there's a hole right there. Watch out. Right? At 1, there is a gap. There is a hole, a missing spot at 1. Right? So 1.0001, yes, that's good. You're good. 1.0, sure. But at 1, gap, nothing. Right? What about at 0.9?
Yeah.
What?
No, because it's not.
There's nothing, right? There's nothing, right? See what I'm saying? So that's what the shorthand telling you. Now, for this guy, see that? Is there a -1 on this line?
Yeah.
Yes, because they're telling you, they're colored it in. Hey, yeah, it's right there. It's exactly at 1, right? Instead of exactly not at. See, it's like a whole, no. Yes, okay. All right. So now back to this, and then I'll put them all in here, and then we'll be done. Arrow, which one goes with the arrow?
The open both.
Why?
The open one, because
Why?
that's the hole, and the closed one is like they just put concrete on it.
Oh, okay. I kind of like this. Like you kind of close it off and it's done. Okay. Arrow goes with these guys. Okay. I like the concrete thing because it's like closed off. It's blocked in. It's locked in. It's contained. It stops there, right? An arrow, you can't stop an arrow. You can't box in an arrow. You can't close in concrete, whatever it in. It keeps going, right? So in the same way, a parentheses, it's you can't contain it, right? So anyway, anytime. In fact, I guess I should restructure it like this. I should say like that these equal a parenthesis and a closed circle is a box, okay? In fact, I'll say this too. A line is also a closed circle. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
A
We'll
line
talk
with
about-
2 circles on it.
Ooh, wow, you're killing it today.
I
So does a line keep going?
Yeah.
No.
No, the line. I mean, that line stops there, and the line stops there. Now, if I draw an arrow at the end of
It
it,
shows that it's better.
that's shorthand math lingo for continuing for forever, because I can't literally keep drawing it for forever, because that's impossible. So
Is it?
that's the idea here. Okay, so hopefully you see this. I'm going to expand more on this here tomorrow or in the next video. So there you go. So now going back through here to translate it all back in, draw back in this arrow. So -2 is an open circle. It gets a parenthesis.
Oh,
Yes. Infinity. We just talked about that.
To be on.
Keeps going. Arrow. What does it get?
A parenthesis.
Parenthesis. And this should also make sense here, because check this out. Watch. Can you see this right here? Okay. So I got a parenthesis. See the, oh. Oh. See. Oh well. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Okay. All right. So cool. All right. So parentheses. And to finish it all off here, this, I have the lowest value here is the 1, but it's a parenthesis because it's an open circle. Highest value is the arrow, parenthesis, because it's an arrow, an infinity. Hopefully you're seeing all this connected together. This one, I'm going to write this in right now. What is the lowest value? We did this already.
Negative infinity.
Negative infinity. So what do infinities get though?
Parenthesis.
Parenthesis, comma. What's the highest value?
-1.
-1, but
Bracket.
it's a closed circle, so it gets a bracket.
Wow.
And that's your shorthand. That's how this whole thing works.
So weird.
The whole
I
time.
remember this being a lot more confusing.
I remember
me
this being a lot
too.
more confusing too. So I'm trying to keep it simple. So now for this domain and range, for this last thing, and we're done. So the red one, the domain was negative infinity, so it keeps on going till -1. But does it keep going?
No.
No, it's a closed circle. It stops, and then so we have a bracket to box it off, to concrete wall it off there. The range, lowest value keeps on going, highest value is there, and it stops.
Wow.
Domain for the blue guy, farthest left value was the -2, parenthesis. Farthest right value,
Infinity.
infinity, keeps on going.
Whoa.
Range, what?
Isn't that meant to be a point?
No, because
For the infinity?
it's an arrow.
No, for the circle. Oh, because it's an open circle.
Because open circle. Yeah. And then for the range, lowest value is that 1. It gets a parenthesis because it's an open circle. And the highest value, again, infinity. There you go. Okay, so cool. Basically, you are saying for domain and range, the biggest concept for you to understand what it's asking you for. Because I think that's another big confusion. Is people are like, what's the domain? And that's like shorthand for saying, what is the farthest left and farthest right points? What's the lowest value to the highest value? Where does this graph exist within, right? To here, from where to where, right? That's the whole idea. And then range is saying, where does this graph exist within here, up and down, right? Or sorry, down and up, because it's the lowest to the highest. That's it.